So I'm Cynthia, and I'm the host of the reality series, CPS the Horror Stories. I'm not a social worker or an attorney, but I am a mom who had her children kidnapped by Child Protective Services. And after 2 years of fighting, I did get my kids back. But that doesn't mean that you're not still involved and deal with the traumatic events, corruption, and devastation that CPS causes in your life, as you obviously know. And now I have this platform to allow parents and family members to come on and share their CPS horror story. So, Jerry, you told me you're from Illinois, and
Yes.
um, you want to tell me a little bit about you and why your case is open so long.
Okay. Well, it's kind of hard to justify something like this, but um, in the 90s, like around 1993, they had this woman who was schizophrenia, depressed, and all that, and she kept having her children taken. But the problem with that was she had a white child and a black child, and after the third time, they gave the child back to her. DCFS here in Illinois. The whole court system recommended that she get this child back the third time. After the third time, she hung the child. She kept saying she gonna kill this child for whatever reason. So after she did that, the whole system changed. Governor Jim Eggert at the time in 1993 proposed that it would no longer be the best interest of the parents. They changed it to now the best interest of the children, meaning they don't have to investigate nothing anymore. If they get a call that you did anything wrong, especially a call getting a report saying somebody threatened to kill their children, they're going to take them automatically and deny you a hearing, deny your right to an attorney, deny your right to any help at all, and just take your children based off the hearsay phone call. So somebody used that same type of case, like around July 27th, somebody called in a hotline. I don't know who this was. They got this law that protects the reporter, confidential or whatever. Anyway, I got 6 children at the time, ages ranging from 18 months to 7 years old. 2 sets of twins that were 5 and 6. Anyway, my 2 children were in school on July 27th, 93. My first set of twins, they were 6 in summer school. They went to school on a school bus, meaning like 8 o'clock that morning, they went to school. 1 o'clock came, they didn't come home. No notification, no nothing. What's going on? So I called the police thinking I can get a missing person report on my children. When in fact the police came to my home, they didn't take no report. They came in my house with guns and took my other 4 children. And I couldn't prove something like this. So they said they don't have to have a warrant. We have a right to take these children because they're at risk. And that was the word they used. And for 4 months, I couldn't get nobody to listen to me. People kept saying they know how well me and my wife was taking care of our children. No drugs involved, no domestic violence, no nothing involved. My oldest son was 7. He didn't have summer school. And for 4 months, they was hiding our case. We couldn't get to nobody. And everybody that knew us couldn't believe our children were gone. And no media, nobody listened. We couldn't never get a clerk at the juvenile court to explain where's our children. We kind of found out, they said they don't have no children with the last name Nicholas, with the spelling of Nicholas. So with that being said, we never saw a judge, never saw nobody. But when May the 21st came, 1994, we went public, appeared in the Chicago Defender newspaper. Then we found out our children's names was changed. All 6 of our children's last names was changed to Nicholas. But all the time, that's our children under that false name. So after we went public, the DCFS The whole DCFS system must have had some type of contract with the Cook County Public Guardian's Office, which is called a Guardian Atlanta. They're supposed to be the voice for children that go into foster care. They're supposed to represent the children's best interest. Interview the parents, interview people, interview doctors, teachers, whoever knows the family, and represent the children's best interest, meaning get them back home. They shouldn't have never been in there. But that didn't happen. The Public Guardian's Office filed emergency restraining orders against me and my wife to stay away from my children indefinitely. And we couldn't find nobody to sue the Public Guardian's Office or do nothing. So for 16 years, we was deprived of our children. No contact whatsoever. By the time my first child, that was 16, Lee Nicholas, we saw him for the first time in our life out of these 16 years since he was 6. So it looked like 10 years, but it was longer than that. Anyway, he told us how the foster father raped him. And he went to the police about it. When our son went to the police station about it, they retaliated against our son and threw him into Michael Reese mental health hospital or whatever. And they gave him electric shock to the brain and all that, gave him all his psychotic drugs, destroyed my son, where he couldn't concentrate, focus, or, do something about all this. So then we found out our other 5 children. They all been traumatized, tortured, raped, beaten, drugged up with psychotic drugs ever since they was little, when they first went into the system. So when children are wrongfully removed, DCFS make these children abused and neglected and social methods, like they were born that way or something. They get this adoption subsidy checks just by saying they was adopted. They can literally say your rights is terminated and they don't have to take you to court or nothing. And that throws the media off of your case. The media ain't gonna do nothing about it. They believe your children were adopted. The way DCFS been getting away with this, they knew I knew who made the report. And the report wasn't about I did anything to my children. They said Jerry Nicholas, which is me, on a Jerry Nicholas, they said I threatened to kill my children. I was psychotic and threatened to kill myself, which was false allegations and false claims. Never had to be examined by a psychiatrist. You would think they're saying all this about me. Why I'm not being interviewed or examined by a psychiatrist, since this allegation was what it was, what they said. Then when I found out what was in a report that makes everybody not want to touch my case, the DCFS State Central Registry Administrator, Leonard Everett Williams in Springfield, Illinois, said I was indicated for sexual penetration on my children. And it says, being on that list, you will remain on there for 50 years. So I never been able to get a lawyer to fight this, to take that off of me. But at the same time, this was false. Because I was accused of threatening to kill myself and my children, not what they're claiming now. Everything they're saying is what happened to my children. And it's basically nobody fighting the Public Guardian's Office because they protect DCFS and the foster parents when children are wrongfully removed so they can't sue them. That's the purpose of the Public Guardian's Office doing what they does. And they the ones that know all the homes these children are in being set up for underground human sex trafficking of these children for financial compensation and maximizing revenue for the state. This is a big business of billions of dollars going to that system for children that they make and turn them into victims, and they don't know how to change their behavior. There's nobody to help them. But I'm hoping that somebody would start suing the governor's office. They're responsible for the state agency. DCFS is an agency, administration. They're not the courts. meaning this immunity they have when they reckless and when they doing stuff illegally, and they do it by intentionally, deliberately, maliciously, knowing what they're doing to kidnap these children for profit. There shouldn't be no immunity. They should be allowed. Parents and children that have been victims of this system should be allowed to have attorneys appointed to bring a suit against everybody involved. The private agencies, the Attorney General's office, Cook County Sheriff's Department, or whatever state of the Sheriff's Department. And if the clerk's office was involved, they should be sued too for altering and falsifying documents, tampering with the records, putting in there what the state want them to put in there to justify them having your children. So this is what's going on. Evidence would show whatever happened to your children in the system. That's supposed to be the grounds for a jury to hear your case, what happened to these children. And recently just made this movie called Foster Care Boy in Chicago. And it couldn't be no statute of limitations because they said this happened to him 20 years ago. And they was able to make a movie of this boy's life. And he got a $32 million settlement against Belcourt Family Services in Illinois. $32 million settlement when the jury heard his case. Every parent that went through this should have a right, like this young man had, to bring a suit, have attorneys appointed to represent us, like they had an attorney appointed to represent this young man. It shouldn't be just him.
I agree.
I mean, this is unfair. That's like saying he's the only one been through this. That's not fair because 20 years ain't got nothing to do with no statute of limitation. But they was wrong. The negligence and the reckless endangerment that they put children in, they got to be held accountable financially for this because ain't nothing else you can do. And they're not going to jail. But they got to pay for the crimes they committed against innocent children and parents or whatever, violation of all due process rights. So all this boils down to DCFS need to be held accountable right away for future involvement with families. Unless the court give a parent a right to immediate hearing, prove the case that day, and have the case dismissed when they can't prove nothing, and for a restraining order to be allowed to put on DCFS officials to leave parents alone. Because that's harassment.
I agree.
So that, I mean, showing documents on here is not going to get us nowhere, but I got every document to prove all the fraud, altering documents, falsifying transcripts. All this is called fraud. Fraud knocks out the statute of limitations. Ain't no statute of limitations because when you have a child, that's your whole life for life. Ain't no temporary, just your children. Unless an estate have a jury to prove that you committed a criminal act against your child, the state should not be able to take your child away. And if they do it anyway, they should be on a contempt of court and locked up and charged with intimidation, stalking. It's called, like, parents or an individual will get assaulted by their spouse or whoever, they're able to get an order of protection or a restraining order against them. If we can get this law passed for that to be allowed, for DCFS not to be allowed to just go out here and harass families for their motive to take their kids to get this money from the federal government. I think Social Security needs to stop giving DCFS this funding. They put these children in special education classes to get their DCFS SSI checks. That's their motive. You put a child in a psychiatric ward, put them in special education classes, it makes them eligible for SSI. That should be banned because they're taking the children for money. All this got to stop. Children have a right to enjoy their life and be in a fit home, happy home, nourishing home. I feel like this, if parents want to be on drugs, terminate their parental rights if they don't want to take care of their children. But at the same time, they got to find somebody that'll be a better parent.
Right.
Then the parents that don't want to be a parent. You can't just keep putting these children with just anybody. It need to be a full-scale investigation of these people if DCFS continue to keep their job. A court need to make an accommodation to investigate this home. And the public guardian's office got to change their title. They can no longer represent DCFS or the foster parents. They got to interact with the parents and represent the children's best interests. That means bring a lawsuit against DCFS for whatever they done did to people's children in the past. That needs to be implemented. The past is the future, because if the child is messed up, they can't live a normal life to become a productive, intelligent person to be able to be in a position to get a good job of their choice. If they can't function right, how are they going to do better? This is terrible. I don't know.
Did your kids stay in the system until they aged out?
One of my oldest sons was in the system for 7 years until he was 25. Because they didn't want him to be able to get to me so he could sue the state.
How is, I don't even know how that's possible.
I got proof.
Oh, I believe
it's all
you.
in the documents. He was 25 when he finally left on his own. And my oldest son has always blamed me for him and his children being taken from me and his mother. And for that right there, DCFS destroyed my relationship with my children. Even though they try to understand me, they don't. The DCFS destroyed my relationship with my children. But I've been in there 16 years, can't see us. They believe everything DCFS says to them. DCFS poisons these children's mind.
Yep.
They make it look like the parents put them in there don't want them.
Yep.
But children that really are abused, DCFS let them die in there, in their own homes. Or sometimes the foster parents get so tired of these children, they kill them themselves, or have some other children do it.
Yep.
Unless DCFS is sued for all the stuff they keep doing, it's not going to stop. They got this American Civil Liberties Union. It's called a class action. Everybody that's been a victim in this system needs to all be allowed to come together and sue the state for all these wrongful acts they committed against parents and children, violating parents' rights and children's rights. Need to be a class action lawsuit for all this injurious environment that the children have been in. The parents are emotionally traumatized. You could be in a car accident, you get a lawsuit for that. So where the lawyers at? This is not an accident what the state is doing. This is permanent pain and suffering, infliction of wrongful pain, because they don't have no other type of experience to do something else with their lives. I don't know nobody go to school to learn how to steal children. It's just like going to the store stealing something from the store. You got children out here killing people, carjacking people. A lot of these children from foster care because they're angry.
Yes.
They're not happy. So what they be doing to people is like playing a video game to them. They want to act it out for real what they see in these video games. There's no mandatory raise your children right. Don't raise them to be believing in facts. Fiction and make-believe stuff that's not real. So, and then the police that steals the children, they need to be held accountable and sued as well. Because that's what happened to my children. If the police wouldn't have did what they did, DCFS couldn't have took my children just by saying what they're going to do. They used the police to do it because they got guns. Can't nobody fight against no guns. What can you do? You helpless. And they putting these guns on children. You know, you pull up the case file, you find out who the officers was, but they stone badge number. This is called a conspiracy what DCFS is doing. It's called a RICO Act. They supposed to be in prison for this stuff they doing. But nobody's going to jail for what they doing.
No.
You shouldn't have to kill a child for DCFS to be held responsible. Look like these lawyers take cases when children die in foster care. But when they live in and they were victims, the lawyers don't seem to care. But that's not fair. So I don't know, what is everybody waiting for? Enough is enough. It's called bring a class action lawsuit. Then we don't have to worry about this happening no more to innocent parents and children. That's what it's going to take to stop all this.
But is it?
I believe so, because DCFS don't want to be living worrying about if they're going to get sued for making mistakes, but it's not called a mistake. It's called outrageous, reckless, intentional, deliberately, willful, and wanton. That's in the Constitution. It's going to take the governors being held responsible for the stop DCFS for taking children. They're supposed to have to be forced to prove it by them being forced to have body cameras on them like the police too. There need to be laws changed for them to have body cameras on them as well. Then take it to court, have the parents have a lawyer for the children and the parents at the same time. A lawyer for the whole family. Appointed to represent the best interests of their clients. They got no proof. It's gonna put a restraint on these DCFS officials, then they can't bother you no more. You got to be able to do that. That they should not be exempted from putting restraint orders on them. That's the way to stop all this. Because if they come harass you, then you got a court order that said don't bother me. I mean, no phone calls, no nothing to third party, no letters, no nothing. They cannot touch you when you get that. And if they do, they're in violation of that order. They go to jail just like everybody else. So I don't know what you think.
I think that's a great plan, a great idea, but I just, like you said earlier, and somebody wrote in the comments, they have qualified immunity. They have no accountability. There's nobody, it feels like there's nobody above them.
Well, that's why I brought up the class action lawsuit. Then we'll see what happens with that.
But don't you think that's been tried before?
No, it hasn't.
Why?
That's what the class action I'm talking about. It's called these cases where it was wrong from the beginning. You talking about DCFS, the private agencies that was involved, the state's attorneys that was involved, the sheriffs that was involved, whoever was involved in this, it's called sue all of them. That's never been done before. Whoever was involved with the wrongful removal of their child, and after they was removed, they became victims of the system. Foster parents, everybody should be sued. Everybody got to be held accountable for this. That's the only way you're going to stop this. Attorney General's office represent DCFS when they are sued. But this class action lawsuit, that's a whole lot of lawyers that's bringing this for what they did wrong, violating the Constitution, the first, the second, the third, the fourth, fifth, all these amendments of the Constitution and what the state is not supposed to be able to do. They don't care because they're not being sued. See, when you get all of everybody, then they can't represent DCFS. They all are put into a class all together, whoever did all this to the families. It's called ACLU. They can bring a class action lawsuit against everybody that was involved. That's never been done before, including the judges if they are living. The DCFS attorneys. It's called all of them is doing this. Attorney General's office, the state attorney's office, the guardian ad litem. It's called all of these individuals, how many private agencies was involved. It's called sue all of them for what happened to the families. Going all the way back to the 90s. because these are the ones that was victims. Even though they older, doesn't mean nothing. It's called what they suffered. They couldn't be what they wanted to be. Their lives was disrupted wrongfully. If you don't sue all these people, they all think it's a game. They just keep it going. You got to get everybody that was involved in the case, if they are still living. That's never been done before. It's gotta be done. Because it makes it look like everybody else is off the hook. Like they didn't do nothing, like they could just go on and live their life, enjoy their life, like they didn't do nothing wrong. When DCFS gets all these people together, they jump on the bandwagon because it's all about the money. But if they all were sued, then they won't be able to run to nobody to represent them, including the governors. You gotta sue all these people because they're gonna keep doing this. Then people will be able to get the counseling or the therapy or the rehabilitation. They don't have to come out of their pocket with this. The state shouldn't have to pay for all this. And let a jury decide how much their case is worth, how many years they suffered. Foster Care Boy movie should set an example. They just made this movie. And this is a set of lawyers in Chicago that helped this boy. They wouldn't even help me when I told them about my case. Because it's not a class action, it's an individual. If you watch the movie, this is a precedent. They sued these people and they settled for $32 million. The jury ordered this boy $32 million for what happened to his life. You can't make these single law firms take on all these cases. It's got to be a big law firm. Like Ben Crump, they taking on somebody else's case, this woman's daughter that died in foster care. That's like singling people out. Help some people, not all. If this boy can make this movie like this, where's everybody else rights that's been a victim like him? They got to explain this.
Yeah, I agree.
How did this happen? How did this boy be able to get these lawyers to help him like that and get Shaquille O'Neal, the director, to make the movie? Everybody, you should reach out to Shaquille O'Neal. Say help other parents like they helped him.
What happened with Shaquille O'Neal? I didn't know he had a case.
No, Shaquille O'Neal was the director of the movie, the Foster Care Boy movie.
What was that movie?
The Foster Care Boy movie in Chicago.
What is it on?
It was online. It was on BET. It should be a rerun. You pull it up on Google, you'll see. And the movie the boy made, the jury awarded the boy $32 million for him being sexually abused. Not just the beating, the sexual abuse part. For 3 years, the boy underwent being sexually abused in the home he was in by another foster care boy who had a history of raping kids, raping his own sister. It's the point. How did he get these people to help him like that?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense. Shaquille O'Neal is not in Chicago. And he's a national basketball star, Shaquille O'Neal, and he helped this one child from what he's been through for 20 years. Everybody that's been through this should get the same type of help he got. Man, but these children's lives will be better, like they see him coming forward. A lot of children is afraid to come forward to say this happened to them. If you see the movie, he wasn't too happy about coming forward saying what happened to him before everybody. But this is a true story, they claim. In Chicago, but here it is, my children been going through this for 29 years. And one of my sons just died that was involved in this case. One of my sons was just murdered, a hate crime. And he was raped and abused in foster care. Now he's gone. One of my sons just died on January the 17th.
Why?
It's on the internet. because he was transgender. The state made him that way. His name is you pull it up on Google. Windy City Times, they just covered this there. My son is gone. The one that went through so much in foster care. It's on the Windy City Times. You can pull it up on Google. And you read a story about my son. He's gone. Now I got 5. So it's even worse for them. Because they want justice too. They don't like the way their lives is. They say they deserve justice, but nobody want to hear my children. So it hurts that I can't get justice for them. And I keep trying. That's why I'm on here. Hoping somebody listening and do the right thing. Whoever's going through whatever, we all need to be referred to somebody that can bring a suit for all our pain and suffering what we've been through. Because of these people allowed to do it for so many years.
There's a lot of people that are commenting and saying that the class action has been tried, that there has been, but CPS always wins. They always come out on top.
Well, I don't know what kind of class action they're talking about, what the grounds are. The DCFS had ACLU wrapped around their fingers. They're talking about these old class action things for not money damages. It's a difference. It's called punitive damages.
My case was the same way. Wrongfully accused, wrongfully taken. Never should have happened. They kept adding and adding. They started off by saying I was on drugs. Never touched a drug in my life.
Yeah, they said that about me too.
And then
after
that, it was, it's just a mess. They said that I neglected my children and abandoned them. I was able to prove that wrong. Then they said I was crazy. I went to 3 psych evals, proved that wrong. Then they tried saying I was too sick to take care of my kids because I have health issues. I got 3 jobs, got an apartment. I mean, I just kept, but it didn't matter. 2 years. And that's nothing of what you went through. Nothing. Not even a fraction. But the point is, it's still.
Well, I'm hurt to hear that you've been through that. I feel you didn't deserve it. My heart goes out to you, and I'm glad you're able to survive and you're doing what you're doing. I don't know what else I can say, but all I know is this is injustice across the land, and I don't know what kind of class action lawsuits they're talking about. I know the kind I'm talking about. It's called, like I said, everybody needs to be sued, and they haven't done that. Because see, if you look at the cases, the DCFS runs to the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General's office represents DCFS. So DCFS just keep on doing what they're doing because they don't have to show up in court or nothing. They just keep on doing what they're doing because the Attorney General's office represents them. So DCFS basically don't have to prove they was wrong. Attorney General's office assumed they was right. So until Attorney General's office is sued with them, they can't represent them. Because the DCFS attorneys, they don't represent DCFS. They represent what's going on in the courts, keeping up with the files and making sure that the files don't get out so somebody can see what's really going on in these files that they conjure up and fabricate. And that's supposed to be against the law, all the stuff they're doing. But as long as they keep on continuing getting the lawyers to represent them, you got all these places that represent DCFS called the private agencies, Catholic Charities, Aunt Martha's Youth Service. There's a whole lot of different agencies that's in different states. But it was like 8 of them involved in my family's case, 8 of them. So they all split the money with all these entities and divided among each other. And I guarantee it's in the billions. And I think it's wrong that the president want to bail out Illinois $13 billion. All that money is going to DCFS. DCFS lost a lot of money now because they're not able to steal children like they used to.
Right.
So that's why a lot of children come up victims even worse than now. Children dying just like, it's like you gotta really prove the child is in very serious danger where they had a broken arm. And they still might not take the child. But like I said, all the individuals that was involved in my case, they all never been sued. So it's a joking matter to them. They celebrating this, that they've gotten away with this for so long. They're not looking in the eyes of these children that didn't want to be in there. They're not listening to children saying, I want to go to court and say what happened and what didn't happen to my life. Children got no rights.
No,
They're not able to tell somebody, ain't nothing happened to me.
They have no voice. They're not allowed.
And that needs to be a new law. They shouldn't have a right to have a voice, for their rights to be protected.
Yep.
And you got the Americans with Disabilities Act. The law is not even helping these children that's disabled going into the system.
I'm disabled. They don't even help me.
I'm disabled like you too. See? That don't mean I'm retarded.
Exactly. I have tubes that come out of my stomach that I did nothing to deserve. And you know what I mean? It's not like I was on drugs or drinking or doing anything to deserve to have what I've had happen to me. I've had 115 surgeries in 5 years. I have a port in my chest.
Wow.
And instead of helping me, instead of being there to support me and my kids, they freaking took them when I went into the hospital one day. And then they had a doctor that I've never seen in my life write a letter saying I was a drug seeker.
Oh, no. You never been able to sue nobody?
Huh?
You never been able to sue nobody for all this? Yourself?
You know, I really wanted to, and I gathered all of my information to be able to do so. But I couldn't afford an attorney to be able to help out.
Oh, they wouldn't take it on a contingency fee.
So, you know, my kids can still sue. And it wasn't just the department involved. My own family was involved.
Oh.
My mom was the one who kidnapped my children with the help of CPS and then abused my kids.
So this thing, you run this yourself, this program?
Yeah.
All by yourself?
Pretty much.
What state are you in?
California.
California?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, I don't know. How many people have came on this show besides me today?
Today, you're my first interview today. I have 2 or 3 more waiting.
Oh.
But I have over 200 people I've interviewed. And I just got, the show is picked up by producers and we're filming it live so that we can sell it on TV. There's stations that are interested in it.
Oh, so you're saying I could be on there?
You can if you fly to California, absolutely.
Fly to California? Oh, wow. Where would I go?
Well, it's in person. It's like a TV series. So I interview people in person.
Oh. So what is this?
This is Zoom and it goes all over social media, Facebook, YouTube, everything like that. But the other one is different because it'll be televised. And I think your case would be perfect for that.
So where would I go? Where would I stay?
In a hotel.
Oh, oh, wow.
It's something to think about.
Oh, wow. Uh, California.
Yeah.
How many days would I have to stay out there?
1.
One?
Yeah, you could fly in the morning and fly out at night if you wanted to.
How long do I have before I have to do this?
The next recording, I believe, is March 6th.
So I bring all my documents with me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to let you know, see what I can do.
All right. I'm really glad you came on today and talked with
thank
me.
you. Thank you.
It was really nice to meet you. Thank you for
Same here.
sharing. If you get involved in a class action, let me know because I would join.
Oh, okay. Well, take care of yourself. Is it Cynthia?
Yep, Cynthia.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm glad I was able to get on it because I was worried. I was like, oh man, I ain't gonna be able to make it. It was so hard.
I know, but you did it.
Yeah, thankfully.
I'm sorry for everything you've been through.
Well, I mean, my heart goes out to you, and I hope you and the children and everybody, you all are all right.
We are. We're
So,
doing good. Thank you.
well, how many you have?
2.
Boy and girl?
Yep.
And both of my set of twins was boy and girls.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but one of them gone, like I said, and I'm a strong person. That's why I can't fall. I ain't gonna fall. They can't destroy me. So that's the way I look at this.
Yep.
I feel sorry for other parents that's not strong as us. The weak don't survive. That's why they're able to get away with all this, because a lot of people are weak. They either some of them there's something wrong with them for real, or they don't seek out help to get better. But I love to be able to get on a TV series or something. I'm gonna try my best to figure out how to make it out there.
All right.
So between the March 3rd and the 4th, then I got to figure this out.
Yeah, let me know. Just keep messaging with the page. My assistant will help you.
Okay then.
All right.
All right then. You have my sympathy, and I thank God you're all right. I mean, I know I can't say better words. I mean, it's a blessing you're here, and I hope you're well. Be well.
Thank you.
And you know, your children. I wish the best for you all.
I appreciate that.
Other than that, thank you, and it's a pleasure.
It was nice.
I have to be going now.
All right.
I do Uber, so I pick up people a lot.
Oh, cool. Well, have a good day.
Drive them around. I drive them around and things, you know, help them out, keep people happy and doing well in life.
Well, I hope you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Cynthia.
All right. Bye-bye.
We'll be in touch.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
All right.